Test 1, 2, 3. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I know some people are going to still be getting on. We've had over 250 people register, so it's 2 o'clock. We're going to go ahead and get started. Hopefully this won't take more than about 15 minutes. This is our partner briefing for the severe weather event that we're expecting this evening. We're going to include some stuff for tomorrow as well as far as the winds are concerned. So good afternoon. My name is James Otten, one of the lead forecasters here at the office. And let's go ahead and get started. Key message, as you can see, not much has changed since yesterday with the moderate risk across the entire portion of our CWA from Galesburg all the way down to Lawrenceville. So we are expecting a large severe weather outbreak across the Midwest this evening between about 8 p.m. and 2 a.m. in our area. We're expecting structural damage, possibility due to straight line winds over 75 miles an hour, possibility of some tornadoes, maybe some of those strong, and then also possibility of some large hail, maybe up to 2 inches in some places, and especially within that moderate risk area. SPC has made a little bit of changes, and we're going to look at that here in the next slide. We are expecting widespread strong winds up to 50 miles an hour, possibly even a little bit higher this afternoon, and then also ahead of the storms, and then again on tomorrow on Saturday. And also, because of the high winds, then rapid and erratic fire spread is also possible this afternoon, and then again probably tomorrow. We do have a red flag warning that's in effect now for a portion of our area, mainly across the north of I-72 to Danville area. And this is our update. We'll have another update tomorrow afternoon with tomorrow morning with we'll probably have another update, but we probably won't have another conference call considering that the event will be already over by tomorrow. Let's go ahead and look at the next slide. There we go. So tornado risk is still the same. It covers the entire area. It is hatched. So the 10% is what we're looking at here with the 15% just to the south. See, it's come up a little bit towards Scott and Morgan County. The hatched area, which is 2% or greater, area where you could see stronger tornadoes, which are EF2 or greater. The wind, we're still looking at 45% across the entire area, risk for that. And the whole area that we see here is all hatched. So that's why you can't see any outlines or anything like that. The hail risk has come down a little bit where the larger hail, the 10% chance of hail larger than golf ball size was all the way up past Galesburg. It's come down to just south of I-74 there. But again, the greater risk for that is going to be across the Mississippi River Valley down towards St. Louis and even further south than that. But still, we could expect some large hail out of some of these storms. Our timing is relatively the same. We've made a few adjustments to this with some of the newer model runs that we've been looking at this morning and early this afternoon. So for the first area across the west, we're still looking at a timing of coming into Schuyler County about 8 p.m. and going till about 10 p.m. to the I-55 corridor there. Pockets of damaging straight line winds exceeding 75 miles an hour are still expected with these storms. A few tornadoes are possible, ending the hail greater than 2 inches is also possible. Area 2 is the same as the hazards expected for Area 2. Timing here is about 10 p.m. till midnight. And then the Area 3 is from midnight to 2 a.m. Notice in Area 3 that the threat of tornadoes and hail has come down a little bit. Without showing you any radar imagery, it does look like the stronger storms as they come into the area into west central Illinois and toward Beardstown, Jacksonville will be pretty strong. We are looking for a squall line with embedded Boeing segments. Those Boeing segments could have the stronger winds over 75 and also the tornadoes that could quickly spin up and move in through the area. And that is expected to continue toward the Area 2. And some of the high-res models that we've been looking at seem to indicate that in that Area 2 toward Bloomington to Decatur, things start to decrease a little bit or blob out, to use a technical term. And as the storms kind of start to gust out and change, the stronger storms will be occurring down toward the south, and then those will be moving into the southeast like Effingham, Olney, and Robinson. Across the east here, again, Area 3, which is midnight to 2 a.m. Still looking for possibility of stronger winds, especially in the southeast here. and the hail would be on a smaller scale, but there's also the possibility of a few tornadoes still down in that area. So even though it may weaken a little bit, the threat for some of that severe weather will not decrease. Here's some timing. This was in the packet this morning. This has not changed since the 11:30 update from Storm Prediction Center. You can see for Galesburg, the I-74 to Danville area, you can see the time frame in the red of when that moderate risk is occurring. So you're looking at a little bit after 7 p.m. till midnight is when the highest risk for severe weather is. So that red area is where the moderate would be. And notice that continues on all the slides, including even Danville. We're still in a moderate risk, but it's a little bit less because the tornado risk for Danville is not quite as high. Also for Jacksonville, Springfield, Decatur, Charleston, your I-72, and then Charleston Mattoon area, same thing. You're looking at over in the west, the time frame for the higher risk for severe weather is in the evening to close to midnight time frame. As you move to the east, it gets a little bit later, includes some of the overnight, and you can see that at Decatur and Charleston Mattoon as well, where you're looking at around midnight, or like from 10:30ish to 1:30 for the Charleston Mattoon area. And then in our southeast, excuse me, Taylorville, you are seeing the same thing, similar to Springfield and Decatur. But then as you get toward our southeast, it's later in the evening after 9 o'clock for Effingham, where the higher risk for severe weather is, for the moderate risk. But that does continue to Olney. And again, it does include a little bit of those overnight hours as well. A little bit about the wind today. We are still expecting winds to increase this afternoon, expecting 45 to 50 miles an hour for this afternoon into the nighttime hours. This is ahead of the storms themselves, but also could be occurring even just a little bit behind the storms as well. Tomorrow, same thing. These are non-thunderstorm winds. We are looking at 45 to 50 again tomorrow. You can see some higher winds, even up north of 74, could be pushing even 60 miles an hour. Let's go back to today as well. You can see there's a little bit of area here south of Jacksonville where it is indicating over 50, maybe 55 miles an hour, looking at that color scale. But again, same thing. Tomorrow, winds continue to be strong, which means that the fire risk is also going to continue as well, not just this afternoon, but even into tomorrow. So burning really is not recommended. I will add that this afternoon and then also tomorrow, that there are some indications that there could be some pockets of possibly winds up to 60 miles an hour, even in our area, not just north of 74, as you see here for tomorrow, but also in the entire area that we cover, including the southeast. We could see a few pockets to be very isolated, not associated with the storms themselves. We are getting very warm, already hitting around 80 in some places. Dew points are drying just a tad, so we could get some very good mixing with stronger winds coming down this afternoon, later this afternoon into this evening ahead of the storms. So we could see, like I said, some pockets close to 60 miles an hour. I would like to add, I don't know how many areas where the farmers have been out tilling or broken up any of the dirt yet, getting ready for planting. But if there's any loose topsoil out there, that will definitely get blown around. Hopefully it's more localized and not as what we've had the last couple of years. In some areas, don't hope we have any dust storms, but that could be a possibility in some areas. So we do recommend, if people are out there, that they pay attention. If they see some dense dust out there, slow down, pull over, those kind of things like that. So be aware of that. Have not seen a whole lot of burning as well showing up. So hopefully nobody's burning today and won't be tomorrow, because the conditions are really not favorable for that. So hopefully some counties have looked into the possibility of doing burning bans through tomorrow. Showing the fire weather warning that's out at the moment. We did have a watch out for a part of that area for today when we put it out yesterday, but we are looking for the possibility where you have RH values below 35% with winds peaking around 50 miles an hour, and the fuels like the grasses, leaves, the pine needles, and et cetera are very dry. So those fuels are very low, very dry. So that did kind of push us over to issuing a red flag warning this morning. Again, this is no change from what the packet showed this morning. Just wanted to point this out. So hopefully people are aware of this and are taking heed and realizing that, burning's not a good idea today. So with that, I will take any, take any questions if anybody has anything. There has not been a discussion about a watch as of yet for our area, but obviously that's something that we will be we will be monitoring throughout the afternoon into the evening. Again, storms are not really expected to get into our area till about 8, but I would expect that probably after 4 o'clock that SPC will start talking further east as well, because these storms are going to be moving very quickly. The line itself moving about 50 miles an hour. The storms themselves moving 60 miles an hour. So obviously SPC and ourselves, we're going to want to get out ahead of that and get that watch out well ahead of those storms getting into our area. Yes, we will email out the slides to everybody as soon as we're finished.
Yeah, if someone wanted to download it, they are in the handouts section of the webinar too. If you click on the handouts, all the slides from today are attached already there too, if you can download.
I see somebody asked about radar forecast for the storm. I'd like to do that, but unfortunately it wasn't showing the geographic references like the county outlines and the interstates, and I know there's a lot of people out that don't, I mean, they could see the radar, but if they don't have any reference, it's hard for them to see that. So actually, I can do something. Let me do this and just, all right, here's my slide. We're going to look at one of the models that we look at. This is 8 o'clock right now. This is one of the models, high-res models that we look at. And you can see this is 8 o'clock. The storms themselves look like they're coming into like West Central Illinois. And I'll just step through that. This is 9 o'clock. You can see it's getting into Schuyler County, really close to the river. Okay, and then this one coming up is 10 o'clock. All right, you can see it start to move closer toward Peoria, Springfield. 11 o'clock, it's already at Peoria, Springfield, starting to move in toward Lincoln. And then here's midnight. So at midnight, you see that it's gotten toward Bloomington, Decatur. You can see, as I was talking about here across the northern areas, it started to look a little bit more, the technical term I use was blobular, but it's kind of gusting out. You see some individual cells, but you don't see the really strong cells like you do here from Decatur to the south. Here's 1 o'clock. And you can see it's getting toward I-57. Still a little bit stronger in this area here, and some stronger storms or pockets of storms that are moving toward Effingham and I-70. And then here is 2 o'clock. And you see it's quietly diminished across the east, as I mentioned, but yet you still have this stronger storm that's moving across our southeast. And this is, did it update? Yep, this is 3 o'clock. So by 3 o'clock in overnight, you know, you see it's a lot more diminished down in our southeast. So hopefully that's helped. This is just one model. Not all the models look the same, but this one's been consistently showing similar timing. So that's why I showed this one. Let me see, any other questions? Let me look. Not at this, somebody asked about discrete cells in front of the main line. Not seeing that at this point. It's still a possibility, but it doesn't really be showing up at the moment. Let's see, let me see. Let me look at this questions again. Oh, wow, there's a lot of questions. Okay, hang on. Let's, you can't see him, but Ed's behind me. So he's looking at the questions as well. So just give us a minute here while we're going through them. I got them up. I know. Yeah, I got it. All right, communications emergency. Yes, we're still using Starcom. For most of the area, we're on 7B. The other is 6B. So we both still have the Starcom. We'll have plenty of people here, 8 to 10 people here tonight. So no worry there. We'll have lots of people here tonight. Answered that question. Best way to communicate, you can use Slack. Please use Slack to communicate and getting the storm reports into us. That helps a lot. We can like consolidate them all right there and take a look at them. We'll have one person, I believe, monitoring that completely. I think I answered the question about timing for Champaign County. In those slides, showed the radar. Last name spelled A-U-T-E-N. First name is James. Let's see. Rainfall rates going to be, well, it's going to be pretty quick. It's moving through about 60 miles an hour. So they're not really going to be producing a lot of rain. I wouldn't expect, we are in a marginal risk for excessive rainfall, but that's just because we're getting some heavy rain out of these storms. I wouldn't expect any kind of flash flooding, but there could be some flooding in like ditches or something like that. Ground temperature is fairly warm at this point, so I wouldn't expect any immediate runoff of any areas. We don't even have a frost depth in Lincoln, so everything should be getting soaked in pretty quick. And since they're moving through quickly, I wouldn't expect much in the way of any kind of flooding. I see Ed's answering some of those questions. Oh yeah, somebody asked about sunset. Excuse me, weakening. Actually, no, it kind of continues strong. The wind dynamics with this system are fairly strong, so they're going to continue. That'll keep the storms going at least for a while, even after sunset. Okay, I mentioned about the watch. Yeah, we'll be looking at that definitely. That is a good question. And if you just
somebody asked where the storm is right now, so he's gonna.
Yeah,
the low pressure is moving up into Iowa, but the squall line is going to develop out ahead of that.
If you bear with me, I can show you that real quick. So let's zoom in a little bit. So you can see, and actually I'll loop this. I'm not sure how well this will do in the presentation, but not too well, but it is kind of looping. Low pressure area is situated southeast Nebraska toward western Iowa. And you can see there were some storms that developed this morning out in western, or I should say eastern Kansas into western Missouri. They were elevated. You can see they have dissipated. That's what you see. I'll stop this. See, that's what occurred here. Here's what's developing now that they're watching, okay? So it's still a ways out, but like I said, it's moving pretty quickly, and it'll get here this evening. So let me show one other thing, and maybe this will help. Here's a mosaic of the entire country, and you can see the storms that have already started to develop out in eastern Kansas. This is the line, this is the area we're expecting to get into our area starting about 8 o'clock tonight. Hopefully that answered the question. Somebody asked what time we expect the winds to ease up tomorrow. Probably looking at after 3, 4 o'clock. Unfortunately, it's a pretty strong system, even though it's way back here over eastern, eastern Nebraska, Iowa. So by the time the upper level system gets across Illinois, that won't be until tomorrow afternoon. Are these storms, somebody's asking if the storms out there now are going to start to weaken. That's something we'll be monitoring. Conditions with the moisture should still be favorable for these storms to keep going. So that's something we'll be watching this afternoon. Somebody asked if the tornadoes, are they going to be mostly rain wrapped? That's a possibility, but it's also going to be at night. So they're going to be hard to see and they're going to be fast moving. So just keep that in mind. Has the confidence gone up since this morning? Actually, confidence is about the same as it was then. As you notice, we're still in a moderate risk, so SPC still sees that the confidence is high enough to keep the moderate risks going. There's been no decrease and no increase with it at all. I think SPC is looking at this as mainly a high wind event, but yet also the possibility of some strong tornadoes are there as well. Will they be long tracked? I don't think they'll be long tracked in our CWA. Maybe further south they might be long tracked, but with the stronger winds, possibility of tornadoes, they kept the moderate risk going. Somebody asked about how will the radar be put, or what will it be set at? And it's been answered. So it was already been answered. Sorry. SPC's next update should be between 3 and 3:30. I'm not expecting much of a way of change. The only change they made it at 11:30 when they did send out that update was that they pushed the western edge of the moderate area back to the west a little bit. They didn't change anything over our area at all, except bring some of that larger hail, that hatched area of that hail a little bit further south. Any other questions? I'm scanning through here. I don't see. But
we've got one that just came in. Do you feel the highest threat area is in the Springfield, Jacksonville area? It's closer to the higher torque potential, I guess.
I would say our western part of our area, I would say Springfield, Jacksonville, Rushville, maybe even Galesburg. I think those areas will be at the higher risk, but that, like I said, some of the high-res model data seems to indicate that risk is going to continue to the east, at least toward 55, or I would say the best risk is probably going to be west of I-57. How's that? I mean, storms evolve as things go on. You know, it's just, and models show different outcomes. I'm scanning through. I don't see any other late entries. Okay, well, goodness, this has been 20 minutes. Appreciate your time and so unless there's any other questions, I don't see any hands going up. Oh wait. Does she still have her hand up? Hang on just a minute. All right. If anybody else has a question, please raise your hand. We'll look at that. We'll scan it for a little bit here. I don't see any hands going up. I don't see any hands. All right, so like we said, we will be getting the handout, the slides that I presented will be sent out soon after we're done here. So I don't see any hands. Ed, you don't see any hands up? I don't. No hands, no hands. That's good. So, okay, well, thank you again for attending. And obviously, if you do have any questions that come up later, please email those to us to nws.lincoln@noaa.gov. We'll be happy to respond to that, or you can send it into Slack. We can answer them in Slack as well. Otherwise, thanks for attending again, and please be safe out there tonight. Appreciate that.